I wanted to talk with you about the state of Portugal's Golden Visa program. We are going to discuss current options, pros and cons of the program, why people are moving to Portugal, and some recent developments I spotted that may affect Europe's Golden Visa programs. Let's start out talking about the current requirements for all people looking to apply for Portugal's Golden Visa program. Just like any other program, there are some very simple requirements that must be met before we can even talk about the investment aspect of the program. In order to qualify for Portugal's Golden Visa program, you must be 18 years or older. You're also required to provide a clean criminal record certificate. There's no way around it. In case you have any convictions, in case you've been jailed, there's really no way that you can get approved for Portugal's Golden Visa program. You need a valid passport, and you must also provide a sworn statement that you're going to hold on to your investment for at least 5 consecutive years. Let's have a look at the available investment options. What most people would want to do is invest in real estate because, they're investing in themselves, they're investing in their future, and it's just a lot better than investing in a business or investing in bonds or some other kind of corporate investment that would technically qualify them for Portugal's Golden Visa, but it's just not as attractive because you're taking on a lot of risk. By investing in real estate, you have 2 distinct options. You can invest in urbanized areas, in more remote areas, and an investment of just 350,000 euros would be enough. In case you want to invest in more popular areas, then an investment of 5,000 euros plus would be required. What has really changed in 2022 is that people who want to get this Golden Visa program, who apply from outside the European Union, what they can do is they can still get it, but geographic restrictions apply. And that's because, so many North Americans, so many Asians invested in, really highly populated areas like Lisbon, Porto, and obviously also the Algarve region. And what happened as a logical consequence was that real estate prices have gone to the moon and have forced locals to move further away from, for instance, downtown Lisbon. And now the government stepped in and said, what we want to do is simply allow foreigners to, still do this program, still get this Golden Visa program, but they are restricted from investing in areas, where there's just too many foreigners living already. If you want to qualify through job creation, meaning you incorporate a local company, you hire Portuguese workers, invest at least 500,000 euros, whereas in 2021 the amount was only 350,000 euros. So a definite increase that happened over the past year. You may also qualify for Portugal's Golden Visa program by investing in research activities approved by the Portuguese government, just as what we have seen with the real estate market, and also with incorporating a company and creating jobs for locals. With the research investment aspect of it, you can qualify, but you need an investment of at least 500,000 euros, whereas only an investment of 350,000 euros was enough in the year of 2021 and before. Another way to qualify for Portugal's Golden Visa program is by making a simple capital investment. Does take a good amount of money. It takes 1.5 million euros right now, whereas in the years 2021 and earlier, it only took 1 million euros to do that. Now the money must be transferred into a local bank account, so into a Portuguese bank account, and it must come from abroad. You could also create 10 jobs in Portugal and qualify this way. What we can see when looking at the current investment numbers is that inflation has really taken place, not only in countries, all over the world, but also in Portugal. And we can see that, by real estate investment prices, we can see that by minimum investments amount that they've gone up from 1 million all the way to 1.5 million. And it doesn't seem like there is going to be a way of stopping this inflation that we're in, at least not for the foreseeable future. It's going to carry on, and we're probably going to see inflated prices also in the year of 2023. So if you want to apply for Portugal's Golden Visa program, with any of the options that we just discussed, and you have, just the right amount at this moment in time, then you may as well apply right now before the numbers shoot up again in the coming year of 2023. Let's talk about Portugal's Golden Visa program positives, because a lot of people are asking, why would I apply for Portugal's Golden Visa program if I can go to Malta and do the same? Not just Malta, Cyprus, Italy, Austria. There's so many countries offering these Golden Visa programs, that they look at those countries and then compare them to Portugal, and they're like, well, they're very similar, so why should I choose Portugal and not one of the other countries? One of the big positives of Portugal's Golden Visa program is that it doesn't really bring any tax liability with it, unless you stay in the country for at least 183 days a year. This is a very general, a very common tax rule that applies to European Union countries. It doesn't just apply to European Union countries. It applies to pretty much any country worldwide. So unless you have remained in Portugal for at least 183 days a year, things like overseas income are not going to be taxable in Portugal. A big pro of picking up this Golden Visa program is that once you have lived in Portugal, once you have had consistent residency for a minimum of 5 years, you can apply for either permanent residency or citizenship in Portugal, which is a great way towards creating more freedom for yourself. Because, once you got permanent residency and citizenship, it's going to be very easy for you to live throughout the whole European Union. So you're no longer going to be limited to just living in Portugal. You're going to be able to live in Spain, France, Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, Austria, Italy, Greece, Bulgaria, Romania, you name it, Hungary, Denmark. All these countries you're going to be able to access, without restrictions, without any restrictions in terms of movement, once you have picked up permanent residency and citizenship. What people really like about Portugal's Golden Visa program is that it comes without a whole lot of commitments. All it really is required from you is to stay in the country for 7 days during the first year, so you're not going to lose your Golden Visa status. This is a very liberal, very flexible Golden Visa program, because if we take a look at some other countries, if you want to migrate to the United States and you want to keep that permanent resident card, you're required to live there for most of the year. We're talking 183 days or more. If not, then eventually that green card could be taken away from you. Same applies to countries like Australia, New Zealand, Canada. Those countries, those tier 1 countries, they want you to live there, they want you to pay taxes there, and there's just no other way for you to get into those countries unless you comply. Let's talk about some of the negatives of Portugal's Golden Visa program. There's pros and cons, there's good points and bad points, just like there is with any other visa program that you run into. And one of the big cons that we're seeing right now is that, the countries that are offering these perks, like tax breaks, you can have income generated from overseas, consume it, use it in Portugal, but not pay taxes on it. One of the big cons that we're seeing right now, and this doesn't just apply to living in Portugal under this Golden Visa program, one of the big cons that we're seeing in places like the United Arab Emirates is that they come up with a lot of perks. For instance, 0% corporate tax. And what happens as a logical consequence is that people from North America, people from Southeast Asia, let's say, from Singapore, from Malaysia, and even people from East Asia, from Hong Kong, Taiwan, they're moving to these places, they're moving to the United Arab Emirates to set up the company there, to pay 0% taxes. And it works very well for a couple of years, but then the government decides, what, we're gonna start charging taxes now because we had such an influx of entrepreneurs coming to our country and they're living in our country right now that we have no other choice but to tax them. And of course, they aren't gonna do this right away. What they wanna do is they wanna generate a lot of people, a lot of interest. And once people became comfortable in the country, once people incorporated the company, they have employees, they're having a comfortable life, they introduce a tax rate. So the 0% corporate tax rate that United Arab Emirates has, it was really just a way to lure people into the country and then hammer them with tax rate just like you would have paid in any other country. The problem here is that many people saw this as an incentive, and if that 0% corporate tax rate would have never been in place, they would have never moved to the United Arab Emirates. And that's a very common problem that we're seeing across the globe. So it's really important that no matter where you move to, you gotta take into account that the government can change things from one year to the next. There's no guarantees in life. There's no guarantees in business. Chances are, even if you pay 0% corporate taxes on your offshore income in Portugal right now, it's going to change in the near future. Portugal has to make changes depending on how many people are moving there, depending on whether the country is making enough money, depending on whether the country has enough revenue, and that ultimately determines how much money they're gonna charge you to live in their country. So perks often disappear. They don't last forever. They are not offered forever, they come and go, just like the weather does. The Portuguese government is finally having discussions about charging crypto gains. So a lot of people, that made a lot of money with crypto moved to Portugal because they had this very flexible scheme that would allow crypto investors, people that made money hodling cryptos, to live in the country, not pay taxes. And of course, that's a very big incentive for anyone who wants the tax break. For anyone who doesn't want to pay hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars in taxes. So they're not at a point where they said, you know what, this is enough. We want to start charging these people. We want to start taxing these people. And with them already having discussions about it, I expect it to happen sooner rather than later. Let's talk about the pros of living in Portugal. Portugal is a country that's part of the European Union and Schengen area. Like I pointed out earlier, by getting a European Union passport, you're going to have complete flexibility, when it comes to living in any EU country for the long term. Portugal is a digital nomad hotspot and it's a tax haven as well. But the reason why so many young tech entrepreneurs, so many young business people decide Portugal should be my next home is because of the amazing networking opportunities that they can enjoy when moving to the country. There are tons and tons of co-working spaces, not only in Lisbon, but in other cities like Porto as well. Few things are as attractive as living in a like-minded community of people who are ambitious, who want to get more out of life, and that's one of the biggest reasons why people move to Portugal in 2022 and beyond. The cost of living is a huge benefit. If you come from, a place like California, Australia, Singapore, Hong Kong, moving to Portugal, you're almost always going to save money, you're almost always going to pay less in rent, less in taxes, but I can have a life that's 5 times better than the one I had in Australia, and that's maybe for the same amount of money. Then, a lot of people understand why it makes sense to move to Portugal. It isn't just about paying rent, it's about everything. Infrastructure, it's about, utility costs, food, dining out. Everything is going to be more inexpensive than Portugal, including healthcare. People move to Portugal because they want to have access to inexpensive and affordable healthcare, and guess what? They find it. Portugal's infrastructure is another big pro for a person who does not want to own a car. If you want to go on a trip from Lisbon to the Algarve region, you can do that by bus or train, and it should take you not much longer than 3 to 3.5 hours. By living in Portugal's bigger cities like Lisbon or Porto, you're going to have access to great infrastructure. You can take the bus, train, tram, pretty much any time of the day, except for early morning hours. Just to make it fair, I wanted to throw in a negative of living in Portugal, which is definitely the current rental situation. If you want to move to Portugal, and not get the Golden Visa program, but just rent an apartment and live there, it's gotten a lot more expensive in places like Lisbon, Porto, the Algarve region, and it's just a lot harder for locals to survive these days. But not only locals are affected by the ever-increasing rent prices, foreigners moving to the country who don't have the money to spend, say, 500,000 euros on a property, they also suffer from the current rent prices in Portugal. I wanted to touch very briefly on a recent development that I spotted that may affect the Golden Visa situation across the whole continent, across the whole European Union. From what we have seen since the invasion of Ukraine began, is that we have heard more voices, and that at the very top level, about governments wanting to get rid of Golden Visa programs. And this is not a good thing if you don't currently have residency or citizenship in the EU, you would like to move there, because these voices are becoming louder and louder. And there's a number of reasons for that. First of all, the European Union Commission, they want to stop corruption. They don't want to have a bunch of rich people come in that have a lot of money, but they generated it through illegal means, through unethical means. And so, the European Commission has told countries like Malta, Cyprus, Portugal, almost all countries that they should consider terminating these programs because European values are not for sale. Since the European Commission announced that, only one country, which is Bulgaria, decided to stop its Golden Visa program. So if you want to get one of these Golden Visa programs, get them while they're available. There's no guarantee. It's very possible that in 2023, 2024, a bunch of these Golden Visa programs are no longer available. The people who come to the EU now, who take advantage of these Golden Visa programs, are going to be able to obtain residence and citizenship. You'd better do it now than later. What do you think about Portugal's Golden Visa program? Do you think it's worth it? Leave a comment below and let us know. Subscribe now and turn on alerts to never miss any of my future nomadism, dating, and business advice videos. I highly recommend that you grab a free copy of my latest ebook, The Nomad Elite Income Booster, your go-to guide for creating passive income streams using the internet. All you need to do is click on the link below the video. And if you got some more time left, check out these videos. Thank you for watching.